Hey guys, Super Horror Bro Mike here, and in today's Bendy and the Ink Machine video, we're changing the title for one to Bendy and the Dark Revival, which, if you didn't already know, is the name of the follow-up to the aforementioned game. That's right, we finally got a reveal for the new Bendy game, and it came with a trailer that posed many questions. Yesterday I made a reaction video where I gave my first impressions and a quick analysis of what I saw. However, on closer inspection I realised there was much more than meets the eye. I also want to elaborate on points made in that video, so today's video will be a full analysis of the Dark Revival reveal trailer and some theories as to where I believe this new Bendy game may be headed story-wise too. So sit back, relax, and let's kick things off with a look at the name of the game itself. The subtitle to this new Bendy game is The Dark Revival, hinting at something returning darker than ever, a theme we see presented in the visuals throughout this trailer, as objects such as the Joey Drew Studios logo, game title, and Bendy face all flicker into view before degrading into a darker, ink-stained presentation. In fact, when brightened, the Bendy face almost looks blood-stained. The word revival, as defined in the Oxford Dictionary, means a restoration of life or consciousness. If we take this definition and apply the dark element, it sounds like this new game will be about the resurrection of those fallen. For example, the cast of Bendy and the Ink Machine, but with a story far darker than we may have imagined. With the visuals and general atmosphere of this trailer, it sure seems darker and more terrifying than the original game, at least it has the potential to be. So is this a darker, grittier take on the Bendy formula? Yes, I believe so. With the game's plot seemingly revolving around the resurrection of old characters, it now makes perfect sense why we have been so focused on them in the many audio logs that were released leading up to this teaser, as well as the upcoming employee handbook, which will contain all new information about this oddball cast. But of course it doesn't stop there. We have evidence of these returning characters within this very trailer, which comes in the form of a voiceover by none other than Alison Angel herself, the version of Alice who aided Henry on his quest throughout the game's closing chapter. So let's take a quick listen to what she has to say.
Don't be afraid. Don't let the darkness take you. You may walk with angels, or cower before demons. But one thing always remains. The choices you make.
Don't be afraid, don't let the darkness take you. These are the first lines spoken by Alison in this trailer. Who she is speaking to is unknown. Perhaps Henry, or perhaps a new character altogether. This isn't too important right now, her message however is. Once again focusing on the dark aspects of the game's title. It sounds like the story may be focusing, at least in part, on the allure of dark power. Remember the mysterious voice we heard at the end of a previously released audio log.
How very interesting. Such knowledge.
This voice, who many believe to be Sammy Lawrence, but I personally feel is a brand new character, seems to covet the power provided by the Ink Machine. Its dark properties that can harness a human soul to reanimate someone back into existence, often with horrifying results. So the story of Bendy's Dark Revival may be about the struggle for power, the pull toward the dark side, and the fight against it by those with a stronger moral compass. The angels of this story. It sounds like Alison is telling the player to stay away from the dark path and instead join the path of light, a path she as an angel walks. She goes on to say, "You may walk with angels or cower before demons, but one thing always remains, the choices you make." This was the single most exciting portion of the trailer for several reasons, the main one being that it sounds like as a player we are going to be given a choice. If this is a line taken from chapter 1 of this new game, then it may be early on within the Dark Revival that we get to select whether we walk the path of the angel or the path of the demon. But instead of literally walking this path like in Bendy and the Ink Machine chapter 3, we instead may get to make choices, both good and bad, which decide the fate of our character and others around them. Walk with angels and perhaps join forces with characters such as Alison and Tom Boris to take down the forces of evil, or join characters such as Sammy Lawrence, Bendy and this secret new character to walk the path of the demon, doing dark things to good people on your quest to help the darkness prevail. It would be an interesting concept for sure, essentially choosing whether to be a good or bad character, similar to how you can in certain role-playing games. This would be a big task for the team to implement, but we must remember the Dark Revival is a far more ambitious project than the original Bendy game, so it's certainly possible. Either way, it sounds like this story, as previously mentioned, will be about staying away from the darker path and walking with angels on a more righteous one. Outside of a story Alison alludes to, there is yet more to look at within this trailer. The ink machine being lowered into the studio once more seems fairly standard and of little consequence until we take a slightly closer look at this particular shot, where it is obvious the label has been torn to obscure the word preceding ink. What does this mean? Well, it means that the ink itself is very significant. You may be screaming, yes, obviously, it resurrects people through the ink machine. It's key to the story. Of course it's important. And while I do agree on that, one thing that has always slightly bothered me about this ink is how it's doing these things. During our time with Henry in Bendy and the Ink Machine, the exact workings of said machine and the ink which powers it are never fully explained. We can theorise on it and we can assume how it works, but we don't actually know. The torn label here and the focus on its importance tells us that another part of this new story will most likely focus on explaining exactly how the machine and its ink works and how it's able to revive such darkness. And that is an exciting prospect. One final thing of note within this trailer, the creepy blink and you'd miss it enemy at the very end who swings a tool towards the screen as it lunges forward. On a first glance, I didn't know what to make of this enemy. It looked very realistic with its hair and its big head looked like a mask. The tool it wielded when paused appeared to be some kind of hammer or mallet. But this is exactly why it's worth making a detailed trailer breakdown. On a closer inspection, it is actually fairly obvious who this character is, a remodeled and highly detailed silhouette of Butcher Gang member Charlie. Let's take a step-by-step walk through this analysis. The face matches as we can see a wide open mouth. We can also see the glint of his huge eyeball, his glove, and his boot. We must also remember that Charlie had large ears and long hair at the back of his head, two key qualities of this new model. However, it wasn't immediately identifiable on a first viewing, and here's why. This new version of Charlie is way more detailed and realistic than his Ink Machine counterpart. We have seen evidence of a steep visual upgrade in all areas of the new Bendy game so far. The tape recorders look far higher quality, as does the Ink Machine itself, but this is the first glimpse of a new character model. And, well, it looks pretty terrifying. In Bendy and the Ink Machine, the Butcher Gang never really came across as particularly creepy. They just looked a little awkward and even cute at times. This does not. This new model is highly detailed with realistic qualities and fits completely within the darker presentation of this new game, which again reinforces the Dark Revival title. Bendy and the Dark Revival is primed to have far more advanced graphics, a darker story, and a creepier atmosphere, making for a scarier game than the first one, and one which potentially deals with heavier subject matter, where our choices during its story actually make an impact.
One thing always remains. The choices you make.
And that's it for today's video. Please remember to give it a like if you did enjoy watching, and maybe drop a comment too, as well as subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an upload. This channel specializes in variety horror content, including creepypasta readings, horror gaming facts and theories, and general interest pop culture horror videos. So if you're interested in all things spooky, you'll find something to enjoy here at Super Horror Bro. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.